The Sovereign was built in 1987, and when she was launched, she was the first of her kind. She was the biggest cruise ship in the industry at the time. The Sovereign at the moment, she looks like the old lady that she is. She's looking old, she's looking a little bit worn, and she looks like she needs to see a good surgeon. It's incredibly important to keep up with the times in the cruise industry, and it's really important to obviously to have the best product out there. We have 3 weeks to completely make over this ship. It's going to be almost an impossible task. The Sovereign's going to look like a brand new ship.
The Sovereign of the Seas is up for a very extreme makeover. There's almost not a single space within the public areas of the ship and the passenger cabins that we won't touch.
This ship carries 2,300 passengers, so it's a big ship. The money we are spending into this ship is between 35 and $40 million. Before we started this project, there was several people who didn't believe that this could be done in the time frame.
Something like this big, has never been done before.
There was certainly an element of challenge to take on and try and do such a big job in next to no time.
If we don't finish on time, we have a major problem, which means we have to cancel a cruise, we have to cancel our customers' vacation. So we have a huge burden on our shoulders to deliver on time.
Can you do another PA for JP Colligan, please?
I'm in the lucky situation that I have a very capable project manager.
It's my task to manage and coordinate all the different activities that are going to take place during the whole job. We're going to go through step by step the next 24 hours. It's hard to do a comparison between this project with a land-based project. So in simple terms, you take your large downtown hotel and decide that you're going to completely change the insides in 3.5 weeks.
When I was a kid, the Sovereign of the Seas was the world's largest cruise ship when it was delivered, as far as gross tonnage and number of passengers. My dad started in the industry in the 70s as a cruise director. He was working for a competitor, and the competitor had what was considered the world's largest cruise ship at the time. I didn't like Sovereign of the Seas because it was bigger than the ship that my dad's company had. But then a few years later, he started working for this company, so then it was okay. Tommy would like to meet with you for a couple of minutes. And the irony is now that I'm back working on it, and now it's the oldest ship in the company that we have.
The ship at the moment is very 80s. Traditional cruising was all about moving people around en masse, so everybody would eat together at a certain time, go to the show together at a certain time. People today are looking for choices, the choice to create their own vacation. The more venues we have and the more flexible we are with times, each guest can create their own unique experience.
Instead of going there in the center, it's coming this way. Oh, I see why, because those are angled.
My name is Carlos Reyes. My title in the company is Senior Project Architect.
The centerpiece, what is going to catch your eye, is this huge thing.
The architect is more focused to the space, the fixed pieces, the things that create the volume, the environment, the geometry. This is one of the 13 spaces that I'm responsible for. And we are going to do a lot of modifications in the pool deck. We are going to paint very nice designs in the bottom of the pool. This is one of the most complicated areas in terms of logistics because every single container and all the removal of the trash is going to happen on this deck. I know this will become a very challenging and very headache area at the very end.
This restaurant, it's fairly dated. It's the original design way back from 1987. This is going to get a big, big change. We need a more contemporary and more modern look. We changed all the furniture, we changed the carpets, some new linings all the way around each of the windows. Replacement chandeliers. This work is planned to take the whole 3 weeks of the dry dock itself. It's a big job.
The whole idea with the casino is to bring up a sophisticated casino. elegant, clean, modern, sophisticated space, not a flashy thing. The materials, obviously, colors, and some of the lighting is going to be revised. I think it's going to be a very nice space also.
I don't have a particular pet project. I think the project that I have most interest in is the one which I have the most concerns about, and that is the Windjammer area. The Windjammer Cafe is a very popular venue. It's on the pool deck, so it gets used extensively at lunchtime. This restaurant needs an update. It is technically and logistically the biggest job that we have. We're going to move the 2 staircases that we have that give access to this area, take them both out and replace them with one straight staircase. The glass walls that are behind us will come out and be replaced with a solid bulkhead. The large central feature in the middle will be taken out, renewing the carpet, renewing all the handrails. And a new structure we have to lift will be fitted across the top of the bridge on the open structure. So that's going to give us about an extra 25 feet. So that'll increase the seating capacity that we have in this area. And this will become a very lively space.
We do need to start some of the work while we're still in regular guest cruising, so our aim is to ensure that they're still having a great cruise vacation experience.
Welcome aboard.
Hi. Hello, welcome aboard. Beautiful track. Thank you. Thank you.
This is D-Day -3. Everything starts for real on Monday when we get rid of the last passengers. And I mean that in the nicest way. I don't mean get rid of them, get rid of them. But today we're loading material for some of the pre-work. This is all preparation work to get as prepared as well as we can before we actually start. Because a job like this is all about preparation and planning. The single biggest thing is the logistics.
I have the responsibility of moving all the product to the revitalization. It's about 350 20-foot containers. It's quite extensive.
Usually you can gauge my day by how many cigars I've smoked. If there's 3 cigars, then you know that George is pretty well frayed.
We're limited to putting our materials out of sight so they don't affect the passenger's vacation. My major concerns are that we get all the product up onto the vessels that the people need to work with. We've just gotten 2 pickup truckloads in. I've got probably 14 rolls of carpet, 1 whole container to go up, and 5 or 6 more pallets. It'll take us until the ship sails to get everything on. But it's 1 hour, very limited time.
Welcome aboard. We have pina colada, strawberry, dark crisp, Bahama Mama. Stick to the booze. You can't lose.
This project for the revitalization of Sovereign is going to take place over 3 weeks. It's a very, very difficult job.
Royal Caribbean International's Sovereign of the Seas is on its way to the Bahamas for its final 3-day passenger cruise before the revitalization shifts into full gear. The project team is already working behind the scenes.
We're on our way to Nassau. It's the 2nd day of the cruise. Passengers are going to get off, which gives us a lot of opportunity to get a lot of work done.
We are experienced cruisers, and we're accustomed to having a much more updated ship.
Well, I think probably in 80, this was a nice boat. But for the millennium, we need to update.
The decor kind of looked like it was from the 80s. Lots of gold.
These are outdated pastel colors.
The showers are very dated. The chandeliers really need to go.
The chairs are metal. I mean, who sits on that type of a metal chair?
The stateroom should be much larger. Keep the staff, just upgrade the boat.
I mean, that's where we're getting the most passenger complaints. Somebody comes out of the bathroom, they're looking right in. As assistant project manager, one of the things I need to do is deal with a lot of issues or small things that come up. Some of it may be petty work or what people would call gopher work, but that's fine. That comes with the territory of being new and being the assistant. Kevin, this is Christian. Come back.
Yeah, I'm on port side outside deck 9.
I'm 28 years old. Just by looking at me, you can tell that I haven't done a lot of these because I'm not old enough to have experienced enough dry docks. Did you see their platform they put up there? Yeah. They built for doing the cutting of the holes? Yeah.
Just keep doing the normal tours.
This ship, it didn't have balconies when it was built. So now we're going back and adding balconies to these suite cabins. Most cruise ships are built with 60% balconies, and this one has 0. This is what they're gonna use for the balcony work. They're gonna build a bunch of these. What do you think? I'm looking at this area where the local inspector came and said they have to re-weld the corner of the brackets. There's a hole there that we have to close up. Now they're gonna go back and do a lot more work, so it's kind of disappointing. As far as proving myself to anybody, I think I want to be making these decisions because it's the right thing to do. I want to prove to myself that I can do this.
For our second day, we just plan on going into port, hanging out, swimming with stingrays, checking out the beaches, do a little shopping. Yeah, definitely shopping.
And we're gonna go parasailing.
The water's gonna be wonderful. You know, it's gonna be warm, crystal blue, coral reefs, I hope, and a lot of turtles. I love turtles.
Okay, hey, listen. Also, I need a list of supplies we need, Barcial.
My department is responsible for the riding crew. With about a 50-50 mix of carpenters and upholsterers. We do the support for the carpets, the drapes, a lot of different areas.
We're in Nassau today, so it is very likely we will have to help with some garbage. All right, come on, guys.
You can do forklifts on land, but here it gets from one place to the other, Filipino power. It's phenomenal. I have the greatest admiration for these guys.
All right, let's get this little stuff done so we can get on to the dry dock, okay?
Departure is going to be 2:30. So you should be okay for that? Yeah. Every day we have a meeting to go through the nitty-gritty of what's happened during that day. Okay. Anybody else got any issues arising from today? Suzanne, you okay?
My grandmother used to say when I messed up, and I came to her for help, she'd say, young lady, bad planning on your part does not necessarily constitute an emergency on mine. And, you know, it's just so difficult when at 5 minutes to 6, the bosun's helper arrives and said, I need 4 or 5 guys right now. I gotta have them right now. You know, it's so hard to cooperate. It's not that I don't want to cooperate, but at 5:30, I see my guys, I give them their job, they're doing their little things, and everything stops while I run around and get guys.
One of the issues we have with riding crews, the skill sets that those people have sometimes are best suited to other departments. Speaking to Suzanne's point, it does help. We will get in emergencies, but if needs be, get her on the walkie-talkie and at least let her know direct. We've got 3 weeks, and it's going to get pretty intense. A big part of project management is managing the length of fuse, and certainly keeping people on an even keel is very, very important. Captain, have you got any issues?
Yeah, Monday is going to be the D-Day for us. Are we going to be ready with the garbage removal on Monday when we start the demolition? How many people do we have at time?
We've got 40 on day shift and 20 on night shift.
Okay, anything else? All right, well, same time, same place tomorrow night.
Tomorrow morning we're going to be leaving here and we're going to head up to Kokokea, our private island. It's predicted that we're going to have strong northerly winds, and the northerly wind on that particular island causes a lot of swell, and that will cause some safety issues on the island. The way it looks like now, we're going to have a day at sea.
The captain did give us notice that we may miss Kokokea. It's an unplanned event which we need to deal with, but it does make it more difficult because the passengers are around and noticing the work that's going on in a higher fashion than if they weren't on board. We have a tight schedule, and if we get behind, that really has a domino effect. That's why we're hoping that that's not going to be a situation.
I'm on the bridge when I'm needed, but when it comes to the captain's other public duties...
How do you do? Welcome aboard.
Twice a week we have the captain's reception. I shake hands and small talk with a lot of them.
Oh, champion international match player, huh?
One of the things is to be on stage to talk about things.
The weather forecast for tomorrow is windy. But the intention now is to proceed up to the island and assess the weather situation. So bear with me if you hear me on the loudspeaker tomorrow. There is no way I will risk any of your welfare or the safety of any crew or guest on board the Sovereign of the Sea. So we'll have to see tomorrow. Thank you.
A tropical storm is approaching the Sovereign, threatening to cancel the guest stay at Royal Caribbean's private island, Kokokea. If the ship can't dock, guests will spend their time at sea, and the project team will have a much tougher time doing their work without causing a disturbance.
The wind is picking up. The front gonna pass us sooner than expected, yes. Yeah, today it's Sunday, the 14th of November, and this is the 3rd day of our cruise. Well, if plan A doesn't work, then you have to swap into plan B, as usual. And this morning, when I came up 6:30, I checked the weather forecast, and the weather has worsened. The frontal system has moved further down.
So, yeah, it looks pretty bad.
Yeah, it's bad. This one is a frontal. This is a heavy one coming down there. And I called the hotel director and said, yeah, most likely gonna cancel the island today because the wind's gonna pick up and the sea state and the height of the waves will increase, and it's gonna make the whole tender operation very uncomfortable and sometimes a little bit unsafe as well.
The worst thing is it actually looks gorgeous, doesn't it?
It's a beautiful day for the frontal system. But it's better to leave than get caught on the island.
The main issue of missing the day at sea is that you have all the passengers stay on board, and then that means that they're more susceptible to hearing the noise and the work going on, and so that's why we try to keep that at a minimum. So that's why when we had so long in Nassau, we try to get a lot of those jobs out of the way when the passengers are out and at the dinners and the parties and things like that. Can you guys still work when it's raining and stuff, or is that a problem, or?
It's not raining on them.
No, it's okay because of the overhang? Yeah. We always follow the weather. The captain's always concerned about that and predicting a few days ahead. We took that stance that if we were going to miss CocoCay, let's try and get all these tasks done, and the contractors did a really good job of being able to meet those goals that we set. Hey, God. So the team was able to finish all the strengthening of all the pillars in the fuel tanks, and the balcony team was able to push and finish all the brackets out there. You guys managed to get all of them in, huh? Yeah. You guys get everything done. I don't have to worry about you, huh? So that means that while we are at sea, the passengers are confined to the ship, so then a lot of the noisier work out on the outer decks is reduced. So that was nice to know that they were able to do that to give the passengers a nice cruise experience while they're on board.
A lot of thoughts go through our mind when we're making these sort of decisions, because obviously we would like to give guests what we promised.
And a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the captain on the bridge.
And it is hard to kind of grasp the fact that it looks like a beautiful day this morning, but in all honesty, we also know what's ahead later this afternoon.
The weather is going to pick up today, meaning the weather is going to get worse. So I have decided to cancel our stay at the island. We're going to cruise a long day, have a day at sea in about 20 minutes.
Once the decision is made, operationally, we've got 101 things to do behind the scenes because we have to revamp our day's activities. If many of our guests were due to go over to the island, we had a lot of activities planned for over there. We have to actually integrate them back into our plan on board. Guests are normally very understanding because when it's the weather, it's completely beyond anyone's control.
Wind's going to pick up. Today we're going to cruise slowly in the northwest Providence Channel, and then we're going to go into the Strait of Florida, back home to Cape Canaveral, where we'll be at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. At this moment, the wind is blowing from northeasterly direction, and it's about 40 miles per hour, and the sea state, the height of the waves, is about 10 to 12 feet. White caps up there, as you see. Yeah, we're going to go slow today. A lot of time to dock the ship safely and get into harbor safely and make the ship ready for a turnover in the end of the cruise.
Okay, 8 six-packs of Corona.
All right, that's it.
Okay, carriers, come on.
On and off, since I began this job, my projects have involved Filipino riding crew.
Come on, guys, let's get this and go outside.
For the most part, they work 7 days a week. They work about 84 hours a week for about 8 months. No breaks.
8 six-packs. Let's go outside.
They are really competent tradesmen or craftsmen.
And their economy is at the moment depressed, so it is more beneficial economically for them to sign on to work for us, even though it amounts to large periods of separation with their families.
Have 2. I need to go back and get more six-packs.
If you have any kind of humanity, you are touched by this circumstance. I mean, chance made me their boss, but we're all people.
You know, so every now and then you need to kind of reinforce that.
Who will open another beer? Kaya, but that's amazing. I don't want two beers. Here.
A lot of people keep a lot of distance, but that's not my style.
Well, tomorrow night is a big change. We finish this cruise, and from here on in, we just hold on.
Monday, all bets are off.
No air conditioning, no power.
With the guests on, it has to be measured, and we've been able to adjust to the flow of the work, and that's cool. But Monday, it all changes. The pressure to get it cranks up because there are more supervisors and more project people and more stuff coming on, so it gets very crowded. It'll never be the same. So it's kind of the last time we'll do this.
Now, you guys, thank you for your help.
As you will see, Monday, it's a nightmare.
Another order?
The Sovereign has returned to Port Canaveral, Florida, where passengers are waiting to disembark. The project team is ready for dry dock, where they'll have only 23 days to totally make over the ship.
Today's the first day of the revitalization. It was kind of hard to sleep a little bit, and then you're thinking about this big project you've been planning for 9 months, so it's like a little kid just before Christmas. You're thinking about, oh my gosh, did I do this, did I do this? And by then it's too late to worry about it. You just got to deal with it this morning. So just kind of antsy and looking forward to see what happens and get started on it.
Even though dry dock begins today, the Sovereign won't actually be taken out of the water until it reaches Freeport in the Bahamas 5 days from now.
We did our last 3-day cruise for guests. We started breaking down the ship in readiness for dry dock about 1 minute after. It's definitely a sense of excitement. There's been such a build-up to this day that in many ways we're really happy to at last get the show on the road and get going.
We've had chain gangs going on, and the crew are just doing an incredible job. It's kind of impossible to believe that less than an hour ago we still had guests on board.
We're also garbaging an awful lot of our equipment, so we've got hordes and masses of crew literally passing chairs from one to the other and filling up containers. Incredible timing. It's like 20 past 11, and the crew have done absolutely fabulously. Good buzz around the ship, great spirit.
It's amazing. Very, very fast. We've never seen it done this fast before.
We've moved a lot of garbage. We've got to get dumpsters filled. We've got to get them off the ship. Otherwise, we've got no room for the materials that we need to bring on. Paul, the inventory manager, is going to run that.
George, he's dealing with logistics, making sure that everything comes in on time. My job basically is to coordinate all that from off the pier onto the ship and ensure that the furniture, fittings, equipment get to the right place at the right time for the right people.
Got a ladder for each guy?
Now you're here. Finally in it. You're finally here. It was like a high, you know. Finally, you've been planning. This is what you've been working for so long, and it was all the loading, and the ship was getting torn apart. Everybody was just going 100 miles an hour.
Did you go get those guys after break? We need to find those guys. Are they back from break?
The carpet guys,
Technically, there's a break at 2:30, and they should be back from their break. Froylan, this is Suzanne. Come back.
it's a scheduled 15-minute break, but it's probably more like 20 or 25, or certainly it's never 15.
We can try the dining room. Have you seen my carpet pullers?
Not for a long, long time.
Froylan, this is Suzanne. Come back.
It's my job to see that it doesn't get out of control.
Suzanne Nelson, she's got 87 people that she's controlling on an hourly basis and doing an awesome job. She's really doing a fantastic job.
As part of the project, we agree that we will provide certain labour for the contractors that we bring in to do the work. and we actually use the hotel crew to do that. So our hotel crew, which is about 700 people on board, are divided into 2 groups, half of which will take care of feeding, watering and cleaning in a regular operational environment, and the other half become what we call the contractor workforce. I'm responsible for ensuring that the shipboard hotel team know exactly how their role is going to change during that period and what to expect. Like everybody else, change is quite a drastic thing, so it is really a big deal for them. We'd normally be boarding 2,500 guests on a turnaround. This time we're boarding over 1,000 contractors. We've got a huge contingency from Finland on board. There's a whole bunch of Irishmen, Estonians and Romanians, Americans, Canadians, Latin Americans and Brits.
I'm just waiting for my crew to come on board. They're just standing right there.
The clock is not really a timepiece as much as a work of art. There's all kinds of pneumatic devices in there to make it operate, but no one's ever seen it work.
My understanding is that it only worked for a few days when the ship was initially launched.
People have tried to fix it. We've had a clock doctor come to look at it. He just looked and left. Had no idea how it worked.
Many have tried and failed.
If it's not running by the time we lay carpet in that area, it's going out.
It's almost 5 o'clock. We're cutting away the railings to have these big garbage platforms, which we're going to put the garbage dumpsters on. So I need them to cut the pipe also when they take away the railing, because otherwise the dumpster won't be able to hang.
And the ship is like a 15-story building. It's very high. Deck 7, which is our promenade deck, is difficult to access because of the overhangs. So the idea was put forward to build racks that will stick out from the side of the ship, upon which we can place containers or the dumpsters that we need. And that means the crane isn't tied up holding the dumpster while it gets filled. Christian's been tasked with looking after that one.
They need to have it done because when we get into Port Everglades tomorrow, we have to load up all these containers, which we're going to strip. It's a nice little fall. It's making me a little nervous hanging out here on the edge.
Here we are, 5:15, day 1. We've had a good day so far in loading containers and getting stuff on board. We now have the contractors on board. Once you get the contractors on, they want to start work. So they've started gutting out and stripping their area way ahead of time, which is good. We've got the furniture all moved from that area. And once they get moving, there's no stopping them. So it's a big plus. We'll be on schedule for sailing tonight. As long as we get down to Port Everglades tomorrow by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, we'll be happy. George is traveling up to Port Everglades as we speak to get 20 containers in the right order to get loaded onto the ship.
We're here tonight to stage all our containers that we'll be using. We won't get all of them in on the pier, but we'll get the majority of them in. We'll be staging dumpsters so we can start our work immediately. They've already called me and told me, don't worry about putting up a container tomorrow, just take garbage off. We have 4 cranes that'll be working here tomorrow, lifting to all the decks. All right, Charlie. If they can't swing them on that angle, I'm not going in there. We set them right here. Stack them. Boom, 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 boom. It's extremely windy now. It's probably blowing 25 to 30 knots. And we hope that this wind lays down so tomorrow morning we can start to lift with the cranes. If it's this windy here tomorrow, it will be very difficult to work with the cranes.
Sovereign of the Seas has left Port Canaveral and is headed to Port Everglades as the ship makes one final stop before it sails to Freeport on Grand Bahama Island, where the bulk of the work will be done.
The thing I need to get done is to get these bars cut so we can load the garbage racks, and it's taking longer than we thought, and so we've got one ready, and we'll probably only have one ready for the time we get in, so we're only about halfway done. I'm a little tired, a little annoyed, and a little stressed with everything that's going on.
This is beautiful weather.
We're about to pull into Port Everglades. I can see the cranes over here and everything, everybody on the deck, on the pier getting ready. So we're just a couple minutes away. Yesterday was just kind of like the appetizer. Today we're really getting into the main course. So it'll be interesting to see what happens today.
I got a few hours sleep last night, and I'm ready to go and get this started. First thing we're going to do is take off as many dumpster loads as we can get off. We've probably got 35 dumpsters located here on the pier. As soon as she's tied alongside, I can position my cranes. Y'all about ready to take dumpsters up there?
All right.
They're getting ready to set both cranes and start getting ready to swing stuff. All right. Those we're going to hang up on the side of the ship in that location, and that location, and then these big dumpsters, we're going to set right on top of them so that they continue to feed garbage without us having to double handle the garbage. Tell me when we can put these things up. Just let me know.
Looks to me like that's Opper. As an environmental officer, I basically have my fingers in all the pots on the ship. I'm technically the one in charge when it comes to waste management on the ship. I want to get a scrap metal container put right next door.
No, there's no way. There's no way we can sort this stuff out. The volume is just too great, Sophia.
Paul's always bitching at me. He's like, all you can think about is recycling.
We can't sort. Absolutely no way. If I was to sum up my job in a sentence, it's getting stuff on and getting stuff off in conjunction with George. But in the middle, I've got to account for it all.
Why can't we just put a container
No
here?
way. I've got 5 coming up here. It goes off the ship. That's it. There's no way. The environmental officer on board, Sophia, a love-hate relationship. I've got a job to do. She's got a job to do. I understand where she comes from.
Paul, hold on a second.
The volume of trash that's going to come off this
understand.
vessel.
Listen.
On a project like this, we're not going to stop and sift through every piece of garbage.
It's no big deal. They know when it's metal, it goes to the left. When it's not metal, it goes to the right.
No, you sort through all of that.
Okay, well, I'm going to see what I can do. Let's go outside. I want to show you something. I want to have one for dry garbage and one for metals.
That's fine.
I've talked to Paul, and he doesn't have space for another, but the deal is they fill just as fast. They're already trained. They already know. It's second nature. There's no problem. I'm not happy because we have about maybe 10, 11 containers worth of scrap metal, and our confounded contractor can only provide us with 2 containers. So I'm pissed.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to lift one of these. You don't have to do it from the top. You can go under the bottom. It's much easier. And I'm going to try to hang this rack on this side with this white crane. Yeah.
Here. Wait, let me get the light out of the way.
Yeah, it's gone out several times. I'm about to chew my cigar.
Gotta go a little that way. Get him now. Woo! 3 months of design and planning, we got these things up, and they actually work. So I didn't think it was gonna work, but looks like it's holding.
We can't put anything up on these yet until they want these chains on.
But I'm scared to death of heights. I don't want to go out there. I see that little gap. Ah! Scary as all hell. George! This one's good to go!
Christian's brand new. This is his first project. He's gung-ho. He can get out and be hands-on, and I think that's great. I mean, he pitches in when it's necessary, and that's what we need.
All right, let's see if I can get them going.
It's day 3. We've turned 10:15 in the morning, and everything is at full speed. The biggest job we have to do today in Port Everglades is to get the windjammer new forward structure lifted up.
We'll see how that goes. Strap snuzzlers are stressed. It's time for my first cigar.
We had to build it at the pier because it's too heavy to move and lift. It weighs 13.5 tons.
Let me know when the stevedores can get on board so we can start to fly things.
It's physically very big, so it could act like a kite. And if the wind catches it, it could blow it against the ship. It could cause some damage. Anders,
Yeah?
you getting twitchy?
Hey?
Are you getting twitchy?
No, not really. I just hope the wind doesn't pick up, that's all.
It is picking up a little bit.
The worst case scenario for lifting that would be if the structure ripped apart, fell apart over the ship. Not only would the structure be destroyed, which is, would take several weeks to repair and get rebuilt, but we would have probably extensive damage to the front of the ship, the mooring deck where all the anchor lines and tie lines are, the bridge, some cabin areas, which who knows how far that would set you back.
Any concerns?
No. Why should I be concerned? Safest ship in the fleet, this.
Come on in. Off the deck, off the deck.
I'm Eric Lewis. I'm the interior outfitting manager, currently responsible for the extension to the Windjammer Cafe. We're extending the forward sections so that we can give some additional indoor seating.
All right, let's put it up.
This is the biggest day really for us in this region. This is the key day, getting this structure in. It's the whole reason really for coming to Fort Lauderdale was getting the structure built here and lifting it on. Without this, there would have been no reason to come here.
Careful, careful. Whoa!
Whoa! 8 hours, the Sovereign of the Seas is scheduled to leave for Freeport in the Bahamas, where the 73,000-ton ship will continue its dry dock, but will be taken out of the water.
Hallelujah, something going up.
Before the ship can leave Port Everglades, the project team must be sure the enormous extension to the Windjammer is firmly in place.
The new structure is one of the key factors in this project. We don't have a spare one. There isn't another one we can just pull out from the yard and say, okay, well, we damaged that one, we'll use a new one. So we have to be extra careful with it.
Structure for the Windjammer is coming on board, and with such a flat deck piece like that, out in an open area, it is a dangerous lift because if it did get windy or the conditions weren't right, it would just go flying around like a Frisbee disc, and the wind and the crane would be in danger, and the ship.
Looks good. At least the first lift is okay. It looks like they got good control of it. But of course, that's still down on the quay. There is more wind up here, so that's still a concern.
The shape of it is, it's kind of like a little bit of a banana. So it has to kind of slide in the right way and come nice and smoothly in. And in that area are some of the main radars for the ship.
Careful, careful.
Whoa!
Whoa!
He's getting nervous. Because if it goes wrong, it's all his fault.
Mine, huh? All right. Let the rookie take the fall.
That's what assistant project managers are for.
Let's have everybody off. The key positions are the pillars. The pillars that are attached to the structure are going to line up with the ship structure as far as girders and beams.
This one, the center one here.
You trust you've done all your measurements, but it is stressful when it comes up over. It's got to find those positions, and you've got to get it in that position with the wind that you've got to contend with.
Watch it now. One man, stand by.
Careful, careful. Are you sure this hasn't got to go that way? Because this is way going to foul.
Last
the other one he wants to weld first? Pardon? The other one he wants to get a joint on first.
Yeah, I think he wants to, what he really wants to do is get these tacked down here. That one's really the first one, but you can see this is not going to go. He is going to miss the beam here. What worries me is how far he's got to go. This is clearly out. Whoa!
Will the Windjammer extension fit into place?
There's a bit of the existing ship that's got to be cut apart.
Find out if this design flaw will set the project back.